Mirror's Edge brings us a society suppressed beneath a totalitarian regime and a small group of runners who are the hippest beatniks around. Not only do they fight the man by delivering illegal messages on foot across the city skyline, but they have that angsty, fuck it demeanor that makes getting shot at and possibly falling to their deaths a non-issue. The 24-year-old Faith Connors is at the forefront of the runners. Her mother was killed 18 years prior in the November riots, a civilian protest against the totalitarian government which Faith now fights to overthrow. Indeed, this hardcore parkour protagonist's disdain for oppression of independent thought is a common theme. But we've got to go deeper than that, into the conscious thoughts of a man named Owen. But before we delve into the inner machinations of Owen's mind, we must look at Faith, her angsty attitude, her tragic life, and into the story you never knew. Our first encounter with the runner takes place in the beginning of 2008's Mirror's Edge, a game meant to shake up the first-person shooter genre. And it certainly did. Rather than the typical gun-shooting FPS, Faith's adventures make us sprint across and over buildings while dodging a hail of gunfire from the city police, known as Blues. At the start of Mirror's Edge, the Blues are particularly gun-happy while Faith makes a delivery to fellow runner Celeste. It's a low-key mission, so the cops shooting to kill tells us that something unnerving is happening. But what? After Miss Connors returns to base, she does what anybody would do by eating pizza and building a card house as she listens to her sister Kate on the police chatter. Kate is a Blue, investigating a break-in at the office of Robert Pope, an important dude. And with the confusion you must be feeling towards Faith being a warrior for free thought, yet her sister being an officer for a government trying to oppress it, I'd like to make some key ideas clear. As stated, Faith and Kate's mother was killed 18 years ago during a protest against the oppressive government that was just beginning to flex its power. As a result of their parents' rebellious nature, the Connor sisters fight the same fight. While Faith tries to topple the government from outside, Kate does the same from within. Makes sense, right? Now let's get to the main points of this show. Obviously, Faith fights for freedom and uncensored thought. Thus, her character is a reminder to us of the importance of being able to live our own lives, to experience personal growth freely without interference from the thought police. Indeed, her angsty hatred of the man accomplishes more than hanging out at independent coffee shops and writing artsy poetry about being oppressed. The brutal ass-kickings this parkour goddess delivers throughout Mirror's Edge tell us that no matter how powerful a government may be, it can never keep people from living the way they want to. Not for long, at least. Faith is the catalyst for people in this unnamed metropolis to have freedom over their lives when the daunted government tries to take it away. There's a not yet, Owen! Not yet. Your time will come. But how about a history lesson to bring home what Faith's purpose is? IRL, dictatorships or oligarchies that limit free thought don't tend to last long because they rely on a brainwashed or fearful population to keep order intact. As soon as a totalitarian government's propaganda and power are challenged, everything begins falling apart because the entire foundation its society is based on starts weakening. All it takes is one crack in the system, and Faith is standing right outside, holding a hammer and chisel. Not to make pretentious, abstract, modern art sculptures with. It was a metaphor for, oh fuck it, you get it. Now we move on to the next part of Mirror's Edge. Faith hears a distress call over the police chatter. Shots have been fired and all units are to report to Robert Pope's office. Faith takes off for Pope's place to make sure Kate hasn't been killed. Once she arrives, the runner finds Kate standing near the dead body of Robert Pope. Kate tells her sister that she's been framed for this murder and pleads to Faith to find the actual killer, directing her to inform Lieutenant Miller, Kate's superior, if she finds anything. As Blues descend on their location, Faith flees after grabbing a piece of paper with Icarus to the highest scribbled on it, and her sister is arrested. Connors reports back to her boss Merc and fellow runner Celeste at their hideout to decipher the meaning of the Icarus note. They don't come up with much, and so Faith heads out to cross paths with the former runner Jackknife to dig up more info on Pope's murder. On the merciless rooftops, Jackknife spots Faith, leading her on a chase across the skyline. He's a nimble motherfucker, but Connors keeps going. She spots him right in front of her and continues pursuit. Is he dead? Oh, thank God. Now Faith approaches, ready for what this guy has to say.
Just tell me what Icarus has to do with Pope's murder, Jack.
Travis Burfield used to go by the name of Ropeburn.
Is this going somewhere?
Ropeburn? Well, he's really just a thug who got lucky. And sometimes people are too ignorant to see their place.
So he was kind of a dick. I also sensed some sexual tension. Bad boys, am I right? But now's not the time for angsty beatnik love affairs. Faith now has a lead to investigate Travis Burfield, or Ropeburn. Apparently he's got something to do with Robert Pope's murder. And if Faith can find that connection, Kate's innocence could be proven, for whatever that's worth in a corrupt, totalitarian society. Before investigating Ropeburn, though, she pays a visit to Lieutenant Miller to ask about Icarus. But nothing happens. Regardless, she trudges onwards and sneakily eavesdrops on Ropeburn through a vent in his office, overhearing he'll be meeting with someone at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Not without triggering a silent alarm, though. Blues are on their way, and these fuckers shoot to kill. Faith sprints through hallways, around corners, over fences, and quickly locates her improvised escape route. Living on the edge. The mirror's edge. Actually, that's not even a pun. I'm not MatPat, leave me alone. You see, the title of this game comes from the runners existing on the edge between the gloss and the reality, meaning all of this parkour exemplifies the core essence of living freely, turning a city devoid of free will into your own escape route or playground. This gritty, perilous free-running throughout a bland, regulated city flies directly in the face of the government who wants Faith, the catalyst of rebellion, dead. Parkour itself is essentially the opposite of what totalitarian societies value. It's freeing, dangerous. You carve your own pathway, pushing through your boundaries for the thrill of living your life. It shatters all rules and regulations in favor of taking the much edgier road less traveled. Indeed, oppressive regimes of yesteryear and today fear this style of thinking because it weakens the trust citizens have in their government and strengthens the trust they have in themselves. I'd make a symbolism joke connecting parkour to Faith's rebellious attitude, but I covered that base a long time ago. Symbolism, plot analysis, historical references to prove a point. No! I'm using stuff I learned in English and history class to understand video games. Damn you, Mr. Busselman. Damn you, Mr. Spinrad. This simply can't. Fuck off, Owen. I'm in the middle of an existential crisis right now. Right. Mirror's Edge. Faith Connors. Okay, she's got that guy's meeting to go to, Ropeburn. But beforehand makes another trip to see Lieutenant Miller that goes south rather quickly, only to go back north soon after. Fortunately, they resolve their differences as Faith tells him that if he tries to arrest her again, she'll kill him. Spoken like a true diplomat. She coolly saunters into the shadows, all artsy and hip. It fades to white, some stuff happens, and now she's infiltrating Ropeburn's meeting with Lieutenant Miller, professional backstabber. Faith heads through the door to the roof they're on, gets grabbed by Ropeburn, then gets thrown, and then Ropeburn bursts through a wall like a goddamn triceratops. Intimidating, yes, but nothing a kick in the balls can't fix. Connors interrogates Mr. Burfield, finally confirming that he hired someone to kill Pope and frame Kate for it. Before Faith can get an answer for why he was meeting with Miller, an unknown assassin destroys all chances of that. Now out of leads, Faith investigates a private security firm aiding in the police crackdown on the runners. She uncovers they are behind Project Icarus, now abundantly clear to be a parkour training program for blues meant to counter the runners. Although frightening, Connors pursues the assassin who killed Ropeburn, tracking the assailant down to a docked boat in a chase revealing the assassin as Celeste. Professional backstabber number 2. A coward she may be, but as blues arrive on the scene, Celeste escapes. Faith makes her way out as well, learning her sister was unsurprisingly convicted of murdering Robert Pope. With that, Merc leads Faith on a rescue mission where she intercepts the police van holding Kate. Faith gives Kate her comm device, advising her sister to let Merc lead her to a safe place. But when Faith returns to the hideout, she finds Merc dying on the floor with everything in ruins around him. In his final moments, he tells the runner Kate is now held hostage at the Shard, a massive skyscraper which towers above the city. On her way up to the top of the Shard, Connors encounters Miller yet again, this time touting guards who quickly knock her to the floor. This guy's a complex character though, because he kills his goons and then tells Faith to keep going, thereby promoting Celeste to backstabber number 1 and earning himself a position on the A team. By Miller's advice, Connors destroys the servers which control the surveillance equipment for the city, quite literally opening doors to saving her sister. However, Miller is gunned down, presumed dead. Faith is on her own now. And so up she goes to the top of the gargantuan tower above the city lights, where she finds that motorcycle jacket wearing but doesn't actually ride a motorcycle bad boy, Jackknife, for the 3rd time. Yes, 3rd time. I skipped the 2nd encounter for time constraints. But no matter, Faith, Kate, and the ever-angsty Jackknife are at the summit of the world, the two sisters at gunpoint during a climax overflowing with triumphs and metaphors.
You can't live on the edge all your life, Faith! Sooner or later, you have to jump!
Way to take good advice, Faith. As follows, the two sisters are free now, overlooking the metropolis with police surveillance taken out and a population able to move and communicate unwatched for the first time in 18 years. Sigh. Time to swallow my pride and slap an informative conclusion onto this whole ordeal. Symbolism, plot analysis, and historical perspectives and all. Ahem. Although Faith's journey to reclaim her city's lost free will is far from over, she has planted the seeds of revolution. The Blues cannot watch their citizens' every move while their system is down. Thus, ideas will spread, independence will be felt, and the free nature of life will return to the people long enough for them to realize what they're missing. Of course, these are only predictions for what will transpire in the second Mirror's Edge, but these themes will certainly remain the same. As we look back at history, oppressed societies do not last nearly the same length as free ones. Eventually, negative ideologies catch up to the dictators who rule by them, because a single crack in the system is all it takes. Indeed, Faith's parkour perfectly symbolizes the free thinking and the trust in oneself that an individualistic society values. Carving your own path through a soulless, bland city while relying on your own skills to guard you from a fatal misstep is what the runners are all about. They don't need Big Brother to protect them. Wow, that was actually pretty cool and made sense. You know what, Mr. Bustleman and Mr. Spinrad? You're both pretty cool guys. 5 years out of high school and I've come to terms with it all. And heck, come on out, Owen. Why don't you finally tell us what you've got to say? Mr. Senior Producer you. One of the core questions that the game asks is, how much of your personal freedom are you willing to give up for a comfortable life? And the other theme for the game is, you can't force other people to live by your rules, even if your society is better, even if you've got better healthcare. Thanks, Owen, for bringing to light a universal truth that thought-controlling regimes don't last, because one crack in the foundational propaganda is all it takes. That crack is often supplied by revolutionaries, or a person like Faith, the catalyst of rebellion. And thanks for solidifying that Mirror's Edge implies you can't force others to live by independence-limiting ideologies, especially not on a grand scale. Although this regime is not objectively evil, it still suppresses a person's will to control their own destiny. Faith Connors and her mastery of parkour are so much more than a game that redefines what a first-person shooter can be. For the revolutionary and her free-running also show a message backed by the pages of history, a message that humans will always prefer their own path over one chosen for them, so long as someone shows them it's there. And that's the story you never knew. Don't miss.
Coming soon.
Hey guys, I hope you liked what you saw. In case you don't know, I'm Grant, the voiceover guy for Treesicle, and this is one of our editors, Tyler.
Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter because we're doing that stuff now. Also, if you want to watch more Story You Never Knew, click down below to watch Link the Story You Never Knew, or click on us to watch Nathan Drake the Story You Never Knew.
And don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. We love you guys, and we can't wait to see you again.